Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of ThankView How-Tos. This one we're specifically talking about analyzing your year of ThankView and diving a little bit into the metrics tab, which may feel like a little bit of a mystery or a place where you don't know exactly how to use the data that the software is presenting to you. So hopefully we can demystify that a bit today. For those of you who don't know, I'm Lindsey Roth. I am the community manager over at ThankView, and I'm also the assistant vice chancellor for annual giving at UMass Dartmouth. I've been using the product for over 3 years and really love it, and also have really liked to see the community grow as well, because I think one of the best things about being in higher education is that we can collaborate and share ideas that work well for us and then tweak as necessary. Speaking of, we do have a great partner community group over in Facebook. If you're not a member, please make sure you go and join. Simply open Facebook, type in ThankView Partner Community in the search bar, and then ask to join the partner community group. Great ideas are being shared there every day. And if you have something that's worked very well or you have a question, I encourage you to use it because it's a really active group. Next up is medium.com/thankview. This is our blog, Send and Receive. We have case studies and success stories there. And if you have anything that you'd like to feature, feel free to reach out to myself or your account manager, and we'd be happy to chat. So today we're talking analysis and really, going through how to build campaigns so that you can analyze after the fact. What you can show through analysis, a review of the metrics panel specifically, our annual partner survey, and then we'll go into some Q&A. So first of all, you want to build campaigns that are trackable. And that is going to rely on you doing some work in your CRM prior to creating a ThankView campaign so that you can be able to analyze how successful it is. Because we're not taking in donations or event registrations through ThankView, it's hard to tell what the conversion and impact looks like on the call to action side. We know that people may click buttons or, watch campaigns all the way through, but it's really hard to know what kind of action is resulted. And so for that reason, I really encourage you before any campaign to set up a list in your database for use in ThankView, the same way you would for an email, a mailer, or a phone list, especially if it's a solicitation or an event registration, because those are things that can really help you determine the impact that your communication had overall. You want to assign a specific appeal code. For me, usually what I do with campaigns is I have the main appeal code that will serve on every facet of the campaign, but then there's a -M for mailer, -E for email. I do -P for phone if we have a phone component. And then also I'll do a -T for ThankView or TV for ThankView so that I know that it was specifically a ThankView. We also are establishing a channel in our database for this reason, so that we can continue to track how video messaging is doing. And being a constituency that definitely has lacked engagement in the past, it's been really eye-opening because we need to learn a lot at UMass Dartmouth about how our constituency is performing. And the more that we're able to track and go back and analyze, the better that not just annual giving communications will be, but overall communications, especially from advancement, will be, because we're learning and sharing that internally as well. Um, and you want to make sure that the appeal code is connected to wherever the ThankView call to action button is linked. So if it's going to a giving form, making sure that that's being connected back to a ThankView appeal code. And so I mentioned earlier that I do appeal code setup the way that I would for any other campaign, and I just add a -T or TV at the end of it. And so basically when you click the button to give through a ThankView campaign, the form that you're sent to, if you're receiving one of my campaigns, has that appeal code affiliated on the back end, so that when the gifts are recorded, it's reflected as coming through a ThankView campaign. You can showcase so much through analysis. For example, just your message impact, any culture shifts that you're working towards. If you're like me and you're on a campus that has been transitioning for quite some time and didn't really have a lot of engagement or coordinated communications going out, we're definitely looking to shift a culture. The types of video that perform well, maybe the produced versus the self-shot video, the length of the video can be a really good indicator of what works or doesn't work for your audience. Open rates and click-through rates and conversion rates are all very important, and also just your audience performance, because sometimes you have some communities that are just really more receptive to messaging than others. So ThankView metrics panel lives over here in your ThankView portal. As you can see, when you first come in, it gives kind of an overview of all of your campaigns to date, has your total sends, your open rates, click-through rates, things like that. And so you can see that our industry average is higher. It's about, our click-through rate is about double the amount of the click-through rate that's the industry average, which is great. And this data comes from MailChimp and Experian, I believe, as of, I think, a year ago. And so it's pretty current, and also from, industry leaders. In addition, open rates, ours is a little bit lower, but I also think that we have a very unique constituency. And so while, this is far greater than our average email campaign open rates, for example. We also can showcase an average view, how many call to action clicks, etc. And this is a view that is available across all campaigns. And so as you drill down to specific campaigns or campaign types, this information remains accessible, and it's also very easy to export as well, which, if you're trying to build a report or just kind of showcase how something has performed with other partners in your organization, makes it really easy to do. I also sometimes just screenshot it because it's laid out so nicely. So if you wanted to go to a specific campaign in the metrics panel, when you click this, it actually lists out all of your campaigns that you've done, and you can select multiples or just one. And so in this instance, we had a campaign update from our giving day that went to people that had previously supported the library. And so it was sent to about 5,300 people. We got a 26% open rate, and a click rate of about 7%, which is really strong. The average view, people went through about half of it. And this was, also, I would say, smack dab in the middle of the campaign when they had already received 2 emails. So I was really happy with the way that performed. And again, like, the same information is available. You can export it here. But where you're looking at library campaign, for example, here is this very specific campaign, I could then look at all of the audiences that I targeted for this specific send and look at the metrics that way. And then I could even click all of them as a group to just see how that send overall performed, which is really nice. It gives you a lot of different options, but basically I could easily examine how the library performed in comparison to football alumni who received a football message to see if maybe their engagement in the message was a little bit higher or lower, and then use that to inform how I communicate with those groups going forward. In addition, as I said, you can also just, sort by campaign type, which is really nice. So if you are sending out communications around events, you can use that to compare click-through rate. As you can see, we have a really strong open rate or click-through rate for event campaigns at UMass Dartmouth. In addition, we definitely have more call to action clicks, I think, for registration pages than we do for gifts, which isn't super surprising. But also we find that our average view and the amount of the video that's actually seen goes higher with that campaign. And so it's something that, you can deduce just by looking at the different types of campaigns as to what people are enjoying more. And I think also at this time too, it's where you can get creative in your own way and actually note like the average video length or how long a video is that you're sending out, because that might have something that is directly related to, for example, the average amount that people are getting through overall. And so if you have a longer video, people may only make it through half, whereas if it's a little bit shorter, then they might make it through closer to the entire thing. The metrics panel also features this really great engagement map. This is a screenshot of basically everywhere that we're sending ThankView, so all over the country. And if you hover, you can actually see how many people you have in a designated area. And so Fall River is right outside of our campus here in Dartmouth, Massachusetts on the South Coast. And so it's not surprising that we have people right in the immediate surrounding area. You can even drill down further and show by country, state, or city how many people engaged in terms of like clicked, watched, finished, how many clicked the call to action, and also it aggregates it in order of most engaged to least engaged, so that you can also use this to inform, for example, if you're looking to expand a club network, if you are looking for volunteer in a specific region, it's good to know what kind of attention span you have and what engagement you've been getting through your communications in these various regions, because that can really, like I said, inform the way that you communicate going forward, but also it can just give you an idea of where to start searching if you're looking to build any troops on the ground. Something that I think is a little bit underutilized, but I enjoy using it myself. So as I said, we are a community that is still really building and establishing its culture. We have not had consistent strategy and vision from an advancement perspective for a little while. And so we're starting to see some of the negative effects of that and are making up ground. And what I've found very helpful is being able to know that I have a fair amount of people in my database that are just not open to receiving video message. And so it doesn't make sense to keep including them. And I would even argue, like, just stick to the 3 stars and up with most of your campaigns, because those are the people that are really looking to get video content and they're engaging with it. And so you can deepen your relationship by strategically putting campaigns in front of them that align with not only what they're looking to hear about and what their experience was, but what you want them to know about. And that's where, you really can use this tool to your extreme benefit. In addition, I think it's just really informative to show, like, for us, we're a very mobile population, which I don't think is a surprise, but I was surprised that desktop beat out tablet. And I think that that's specifically because we have a very strong faculty and staff audience. They are by far and large, I think, are most engaged across email and ThankView communications. And so it's something to keep in mind, and why I'm thankful for things like the customized landing page because I know that a fair amount of our audience is viewing their ThankView on a desktop. Before we hop into questions, I'm also going to talk a little bit more about the way that I use these campaign layouts. So to hop a little bit back to the actual library campaign here, this is an example of where you could also deduce, conversion rates. And so since we don't know on this screen here how this specific campaign performed because it was a solicitation, we don't know how many gifts it got. So by coding this group of people as receiving a ThankView before I loaded the list in our portal, it allows my partners in advancement services and the behind the scenes to be aware that that's the most recent communication that they got. So if they make a gift, they can attribute it to that. In addition, we also see benefit from direct linking in the call to action button. And so if I have an appeal code, we use iModules, which is a popular client in higher education, although I know a lot of people are going to different places. With iMods, we're able to actually just put the appeal code at the end of the link string for the giving form. And that has been really helpful with a ThankView campaign because then we can directly attribute it to a ThankView, no questions asked, because that giving form link has it hard coded into it, the report that our colleagues on the back end get. So with that, I just wanted to take a minute to talk a little bit about our partner survey. We're going to be sending it out actually with the documentation that you're receiving following this webinar. And so please feel free to take it. It probably will take 10 to 15 minutes of your time, but can really help us inform the future of this platform and what features you would like to see added. In addition, as a thank you, we will be offering the first 50 respondents 20%, a chance to win 20% off of their renewal. And so the quicker that you answer, the more likely you are to be in that pool of people. And as a thank you, maybe you'll win 20% off for your organization at the renewal time. And so one last plug for our partner community group. If you're not in it already, please join. It's 400 plus members strong, and it's a really active community that has a lot of great ideas being shared every day. And with that, I'm going to open it up to questions. Feel free to use the chat feature or the Q&A, whichever works for you, so that if you have any specific examples of what you're looking to report out on, I'd be happy to talk through them with you now. Okay, going once. Let's check over at Facebook too, because we're live in the. Let's see. Don't see any more questions. Just making sure we're covering our bases. Okay. So before I let you go, just want to do a plug. We are going to have fiscal year prep coming up next month with the end of fiscal for most people coming up at the end of June. We wanted to make sure that we take time to talk about the year ahead. So join us for 2 webinars on August 7th and August 27th, where we'll be talking about these specifically. And then, as I said, feel free to email me directly if you have any specific questions beyond this as you're looking at the performance of your ThankView campaigns. And also if you're looking for tips and tricks to make it easier to set it up before you run a campaign so that you can track on the back end, feel free to let me know. Ultimately, this is a really powerful tool. And I think that the metrics tab is really informative. I think you just have to be diligent about going back and tracking the way that each individual campaign is performing, and then identifying trends that are working across your audience to start to figure out what makes the most sense for video messaging for your organization. Cool. Well, if anything else comes up, you know where to find me. I'm Lindsey Roth, and this has been another edition of ThankView How To. I really appreciate you all joining me, and have a wonderful 4th of July. Bye, everyone.